Hi friends, David here from Learn Stage Lighting, and today we're looking at a new friend right here. This is the Gamma Orux 480. It is a 480 watt white source LED profile moving head, which means it jams pretty much everything they possibly can inside of it. Let's see if it's worth it. Let's dive in. Gamma Orux 480, that's a mouthful, is a new fixture from Gamma LED Vision, and they sent me to check it out, but the opinions are all our own. Honestly, as we always tell you guys, we're dealers for a lot of these brands. We're dealers for this fixture. We can get it for you over at Learn Stage Lighting Gear, and the first impressions just overall are that this is a pretty impressive fixture. We'll talk more about this in a minute, but it's really, really, really well priced. Compared to some other ones that are already on the market, some other really similar fixtures. And in this brightness class, it's, probably the least expensive fixture that has all of these features. There's just a couple things to watch out for. So let's talk about the plastic, the casing overall. So this guy's a little bit of a heavy fixture. He clocks in at around 70 pounds. So if you are setting up and tearing down every day, you got to weigh that out if that's worth it or not. If it's permanently installed, hey, probably good. He's a fairly good size unit, but you're going to notice that the fan vents on either side are quite large. They let a lot of air in, which means it's a really quiet fixture for how bright it is. Okay, overall, nice housing, good plastics, everything feels great. None of that funky rubber stuff that some brands use. I hate that stuff. It gets sticky over time. On the connector side, it is plugged in, but we'll show you. So on the connector side, we have for you, True 1, input and throughput, 3 and 5 pin DMX somewhere over there. It's backwards. 3 and 5 pin DMX, so that's awesome. And then on the other side, we've got a nice full color display. Let's kick it on, get this guy homing. You'll see once it starts up that it's got a nice full color display, walks you through everything that's going on as it starts homing. It's reasonably quiet while it homes. I mean, everything clicks and ticks as it hits all its limits for all of its features inside. But there's a lot going on in there, as we talked about before. So this is a fixture with a wide zoom range, 4.4 or 4.5 degrees to 55. Okay, so very narrow and beamy to quite wide. It has Gobos, fixed and rotating. It has a 5-facet prism. It has full curtain framing shutters. It has CMY color mixing. It has an animation wheel. Okay, so there's a lot in this fixture. And so therefore, when it's homing, as we can see, it's still homing. It's not fast. Granted, how often do you lose power and have to rehome in the middle of a show or event? Not that often, but just be aware of that. Overall, really great fixture, really great build. I want to take a look at this fixture and how it performs once it's on. So we'll let it finish homing. It's done. I've actually got it in a position over in the console, but I shut it off. And so now we're just going to go ahead, pop it up to full, and boom, you see, okay, that guy is really bright and honestly just blows out the camera, right? So we're going to pop him over here so we can see the beams, because everybody wants to see the beams. Dims down to 0 real nice. So I'm just doing this manually on the console, but you see when it goes down to 0 and comes back up, it's very nice. Also, I just popped it down there from full and the fans start decelerating really quick. It's not loud when the fans are at full, but it gets very quiet when it is. It actually gets pretty much silent when it's not. Let's pop that Gobo out real quick and we're going to go ahead and show you the colors. Okay, so there's a color wheel as well as color mixing. Now the color wheel allows you to do split colors. Color mixing, on the other hand, of course, is cyan, magenta, and yellow. I'm just going to define that beam up a little bit more. There we go. You can see you're able to get a really sharp beam. Cyan looks great. Just pull that out. Bring in magenta. Pull that out. Bring in yellow. All of them very bright, very nice. There also is a color temperature correction, so you can warm it up. There are calibrated color temperatures from 2500K all the way up to its native 7100K. In terms of the zoom, it gets very narrow. So you see, this is it at 4.5 degrees. As you see, based on the size of the lens, it's got a pretty good size lens. When it's at that narrow, it really doesn't spread much. It's very beamy, very solid, making this a good choice for circumstances where you want a really tight, beamy look at times. Okay, but when we do zoom it out all the way to 55, you can see it's very bright. And if we go ahead and adjust our focus, we get a nice, sharp, but very wide angle of light out of this guy. Okay, let's talk about Gobos real quick. So there's a fixed and a rotating wheel. I'm popping through the fixed wheel here, or the rotating wheel, sorry. The rotating wheel's definitely got some winners. So let's go ahead and pull it in, pop it into focus for you. What you're going to see is the Gobos that are in here are not overly beamy, right? They're not super tight in the beam. They're more for graphical projections, but at the same time, you know, this one still looks good in the beam. We'll shoot on the wall in a second. That one, I love the colors on that one. This one looks like a laser, which is super cool. See it turning there. This one's kind of a yellow and white deal with a hole in the middle of the circle. And then the rest of these really are projection-based Gobos. You know, they're for putting graphics on things. Moving to the fixed wheel, once we go ahead and grab it and give a quick focus. There is autofocus on this. If you're shooting a longer distance than I am, you can have it automatically focus. Make this nice and sharp. So the fixed Gobo wheel offers a number of also mostly graphical Gobos. So really great for projection on surfaces. We'll do that in a second. However, this one is the one exception to that rule. It is a typical cone Gobo where there's a circle, and if I pop it into the camera there, you see it's light all the way around the circle, a nice circly cone with not really anything in the center. Cool Gobo. Okay, then we've got just a couple more, also very graphical, and then we're back into the Gobo shake. So let's take a look at these on a surface, because ultimately, when you have a fixture that's a profile, more often than not, you shine it on surfaces. So if we go ahead and shine this on our friendly wall here, we're going to have to back it up a little too. Something like that. Pop in our first Gobo on our rotating wheel, or our fixed wheel, sorry, on our fixed wheel. So you can see the different Gobos on the fixed wheel. Again, except for this one, they're really more geared towards projection on surfaces. Back into the shake there. But when we go to the rotating wheel, a couple things you're going to notice. One, the Gobo morph on this is really nice. And what Gobo morph is, if you're not familiar, is it's the ability to use the focus in the light to have one Gobo completely in focus and go to another one completely focused. Have them layered like this. The animation wheel also layers. Of course, when you do that, you lose a little bit of output, but it does look really cool. So we'll take that and pop out the fixed wheel. Rotating wheel has, let me get that in focus just a little bit better. There we go. Rotating wheel has a number of great Gobos. So this one kind of looks like the old, was it AT&T Earthlink? I don't remember. But overall, you know, nice Gobos. This one's great for putting onto surfaces. This one's good in the haze, as we noted, as is this one. But then the rest of these, definitely more graphical, more surface projection oriented. But it's a good setup. Beam-wise, let me go ahead and pull these all out. As we mentioned, we've got that zoom, real wide. There is a 5-facet prism, which looks nice with the Gobo in it. Yeah, looks very nice. Just turn it up a little for you there, back to 50%. So Gobo looks really nice with the prism in. The prism also does rotate. And then there's the framing. That's what we're all here for, right? So the framing shutters are all dual motor. Motor 1 brings it in. Motor 2 rotates it. And when you use the two motors together, you are able to do full curtain framing. So you're able to go completely across that framing area. There are 4 sets of shutters, so 1, 2, we'll just forget about 3 and 4, and jump ahead to the framing rotation. So the framing can rotate as well. 359 degrees of rotation. It does what it's supposed to, which is great. Overall impressions. The Gamma Orux 480 is really a nice fixture for kind of that mid-level area where, you know, you need something that's pretty bright. We're talking, you know, probably greater than 25-foot throws in most instances. Probably better if you don't set up and tear it down every day because it is 75 pounds. But it comes in at a price point, at least in the current market, that's really, really good compared to other profiles that have, you know, the same CMY, CTO, full curtain framing. Compared to the other guys that have all the similar stuff inside, this guy comes in at a surprisingly good bit lower cost. So if this looks like a fixture that you might be interested, you might go, hey, this might be for us, then hit us up over at Learn Stage Lighting Gear. We've got this fixture, you can get to it below. You can check out other fixtures. Feel free to reach out for a quote. If you add the items to your cart, you can make a quote there, or just use the contact form. Let us know about your facility, what you're trying to do, what lights you already have. We'll ask you a couple more questions, and then we'll make our best recommendation to you. And we're the lowest pressure salespeople you possibly could meet. In fact, oftentimes we come back to people and we say, hey, something like this might be great for you. And sometimes we're going to recommend something at lower cost, which means we make less. But we're in it for the long haul. We want to serve you as a customer with all of your lighting needs for life. So if that sounds good, hop over to Learn Stage Lighting Gear, subscribe here, and we'll see you in our next video. Thanks.